It's 2 p.m. A very good afternoon and welcome. This is Nedbank Business Watch. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Lungelele Makakula. You can watch us on our YouTube page, Eswatini TV. We are on DSTV as well, channel 286. Today on the program, we'll be talking about a lifestyle audit. This is a review process conducted by the Eswatini Revenue Service to determine if a person's lifestyle corresponds with his or her known sources of income. It therefore aims to achieve one broad objective, which is to establish whether a person is living above his or her legal means. These audits are conducted when the IRS suspects that you as a taxpayer are not declaring all your income and are in actual fact underpaying your tax due. In the year 2015, a lifestyle audit unit was established at the Eswatini Revenue Service, and earlier this year, the service revealed that 23 individuals' lifestyles were being audited to recover a tax liability of about 47 million that they owe. Recently, the service conducted a lifestyle audits training for its staff on lifestyle audits, an exercise meant to capacitate their staff with skills so they know how to conduct the audit. We'll have a discussion with in-house economist Sanele Sibiya on the importance of lifestyle audits. And for our Nedbank segment, we'll be joined by Help Desk Officer Nolwazi Kumalo, and she'll be taking us through the features of the Nedbank Money Africa app and the convenience that comes with it. And then later, have today's financial markets with Toba Gameta. Stay tuned. For now, let's go to business news. And now for our first story, the Eswatini Revenue Service staff have to exercise integrity at all times, even when conducting staff lifestyle audits. Hence, the service has trained them on conducting lifestyle audits. The Director of Internal Affairs, Paulette Twala, says they have been assisted by the World Customs Organization in conducting the training.
Lifestyle audit is a vital component of a revenue administration. During this training, we are engaging the internal affairs of ERS to emphasize on the use of lifestyle audit for illustrating and focusing on integrity and transparency. So the areas they have to concentrate is that how to uncover risks pertaining to our staff lifestyles, such that on areas financial stress, excessive debts, questionable associates, lavish spending patterns. By so doing, the internal affairs of ERS will surely not only contribute towards the enhancement of integrity of the institution, but also towards the betterment of the institution.
The Director of Internal Affairs at the Eswatini Revenue Service says staff has to uphold integrity at all times, hence the training by the World Customs Organization.
Another thing that necessitated this workshop is that in as much as the ERS has a robust integrity program, but we needed to benchmark with, or rather benchmark against world best practice and standards. So we solicited help from the WCO, and hence we conducted an integrity diagnosis, and also WCO has now sent in the 2 experts to assist us, capacitate the internal affairs team on how to conduct effective lifestyle audits. This workshop, more than anything, is going to help us also, in a way, identify the framework, the legal frameworks that we have to conduct the lifestyle audits. Also, it will help improve the integrity levels in the organizations. This is not to say the staff don't have integrity, but we have to improve in all that we do. So conducting effective lifestyle audits, and also the framework, and that staff will improve, the integrity levels will improve. Also, it's a preventative tool, preventing corruption, preventing fraud, preventing any other form of misconduct, anything that may be detrimental to the mandate of the ERS.
The Eswatini Revenue Service says the training is also to ensure that their staff members execute their duties with highest excellence. For Nedbank Business Watch, Nelson Dlangamanda, Vomingosi Nzinisa, Ezulwini.
For international story, Thames Water, Yorkshire Water and Northumbrian Water face 168 million, which is over 3 billion malangeni in fines after OFA's investigation revealed significant failures in sewage discharge management. The proposed fines 104 million pounds over 2 billion malangeni. Thames Water 47 million pounds, which is over 1 billion malangeni for Yorkshire Water, and 17 million, which is over 300 million malangeni for Northumbrian Water, reflect severe environmental and customer harm. Enforcement orders will follow consultations.
English water companies, Thames Water, Yorkshire Water and Northumbrian Water face fines totaling £168 million over 3 billion malangeni after Ofwat's investigation revealed failures in sewage discharge management. The fines proposed are £104 million over 2 billion malangeni for Thames Water, £47 million over 1 billion malangeni for Yorkshire Water, and £17 million over 300 million malangeni for Northumbrian Water. The firms were found to harm the environment and customers by discharging sewage into rivers and seas regularly, failing to upgrade assets and inadequately maintaining wastewater treatment works. Ofwat will consult on fine sizes and issue enforcement orders. The penalties reflect the company's severe failures and aim to ensure better environmental management in the future. Cambodia has started constructing the 1.5 billion euros over 30 billion malangeni Funan Techo Canal, linking the Mekong River near Phnom Penh to 2 new deep-water ports on the Gulf of Thailand. This project aims to reduce dependence on Vietnamese ports for imports and exports. The canal, scheduled for completion by 2028, faces funding uncertainties, environmental concerns and strategic tensions, particularly with Vietnam. Critics argue the project may not be economically viable and could harm the environment. Despite these challenges, the Cambodian government under Prime Minister Han Manet views the canal as a crucial infrastructure initiative. Reporting for international news, Spiosami Kinenza, sourced from VOA, DW, and France 24.
All right, it's 8 minutes after 2, and that's it for our business news. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we connect with Sunny Lesbia to have a discussion on the importance of ERS to conduct a lifestyle audit. Welcome back. This is Nedbank Business Watch. Thank you for tuning in. In the year 2015, a lifestyle audit unit was established at the Eswatini Revenue Service, and earlier this year, the service revealed that 23 individuals' lifestyles were being audited to recover a tax liability of about 47 million malangeni that they owe. Recently, the service conducted a lifestyle audit training for its staff, an exercise meant to capacitate them with the necessary skills as they conduct lifestyle audits. We are now joined by economist Eswatini Lesbia to discuss the importance of a lifestyle audit training. A very good afternoon, Mr. Lesbia. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Let's talk about the importance of the ERS conducting lifestyle audits. How critical is it for them to do these investigations?
Good afternoon, Dudwen. Good afternoon to the viewer at home. So when we talk of a lifestyle audit, we mean, it's just one of those avenues of trying to find incongruent worlds, where a person seems to be living a life, their lifestyle seems to posit that they have a much higher income than they've probably declared. And what we find with lifestyle audits, where when you're trying to find whether a person could actually be, liable to some of those corrupt or illicit or basically just undisclosed wealths. So what we then see there is, that tends to change. So, the way people tend to conceal their wealths tends to change with time, and that is why it becomes important for the authority and the authority to continuously upgrade and retool their staff to ensure that they're able to catch up with the new trends and how people are now concealing their money, and so such that we're able to find the right candidates who should be subjected to lifestyle audits. And then also we need to also be quite critical of the ethical consideration or the ethical issues around lifestyle audits. We don't want to have a unit that can be weaponized. So it becomes important that you have a lifestyle audit unit that actually has a systematic way of doing things. And I think one of the trainings become quite critical in those aspects so that we avoid having a unit that's going to be weaponized. And then also, like I've already mentioned, Lou, is the fact that, there's always new ways that are emerging of concealing those other incomes that people may have, or some forms of wealth which people may not necessarily pay tax on. And it becomes quite critical that the unit is capacitated to be able to follow up and to follow up on new trends and be able to identify new trends of concealing money, and to also be able to identify new methods of actually conducting the lifestyle audit in times and in keeping with the technology and in terms of advancements in knowledge. Thank you.
Yeah. So as a taxpayer, what should you do? Should it happen you're selected to be investigated, you're selected for lifestyle audit, and how are taxpayers selected?
So the selection criteria usually has to be one where we probably maybe due to some your proximity to corrupt or other illicit means, you tend to be your expenses tend to then outweigh what you are then paying to the revenue authority. So that becomes one of those lifestyle audit issues. At times, it could be that you are working with criminal, like police, and you have been, what we would call, you've been selected as a candidate for a lifetime audit because it is assumed that you have some proximity to those illicit type of transactions. And, with others, we find that it's more an issue of you now moving into a new job. And, because even corporate entities can then require that you do that type of lifestyle audit. And then also it becomes an issue of, when the authority, when they're auditing your bank statements and then trying to see the lifestyle that you're living, and then you tend to live a lifestyle that's way above average compared to what you are declaring. That means you probably have some sources of income that you've not declared to the authority.
I mean, Mr. Asbia, it's quite clear that, there are consequences that you face if you evade paying taxes. This year alone, the IRS has reported that it is investigating about 23 individuals and they owe 47 million emalangeni. What kind of impacts does it have to economical growth?
So one way we need to look at lifestyle audits. One of the outcomes that we try to uncover with the lifestyle audit is whether you are fraudulently, you're trying to defraud the taxpayer, or you are benefiting from corruption, you're benefiting from proceeds of crime. So those are the different avenues that you find that would tend then to benefit from a lifestyle audit. As a country, we are dealing with a huge problem of corruption, and these lifestyle audits help pinpoint that problem, where we find an individual who tends to live a lifestyle that is way beyond their means, way beyond their known sources of incomes. So that tends to be an indicator to say this person could either be benefiting from criminal activities or benefiting from corruption, and that can be used as a as a stepping stone into another bigger investigation. And the country has actually lost quite a lot of money to those corrupt activities. So, in terms of ensuring as a fiscal prudence, we need to make sure that the people who are in public office do undertake a lifestyle audit because they are very proximal to a very big public purse. And then also the criminal activities. You know that crime really just doesn't hurt the people who are direct beneficiaries of that criminal endeavor, but also it hurts the economy in that usually most criminal activities tend to have a huge social cost in terms of, whether we need to have more policing, whether we need to have more hospitals, whether we need more social services, just because we allow criminal activities to thrive in an economy. And then also there is the very direct one in terms of the fiscal health of the country. If we allow people not to declare their other sources of incomes, that means the taxman is losing out on on an amount of tax. In this case, we've already put it that it's around 47 million. So that means that's a school that's not going to get that money. So your government doesn't have access to that money because people are now concealing those monies. So it has those direct and indirect critical to ensure that we have a unit that is caught up with the times and is actually able to identify a lot of those to make sure that we are able to consolidate our fiscal purse and minimize those leakages, and also to try to make sure that we also try to bring people to book for other issues such as corruption and other criminal activities and criminal endeavors.
Yeah, I can imagine, Mrs. B, it must be nerve-wracking to be selected for a lifestyle audit. So how do you prepare yourself in terms of, documents to release? How do they access data to source information if they're doing the investigations?
All right. So one thing you will need to understand about the authority is they do have a lot of privilege. They could, at times they don't even need to ask you for it. They could just go straight to your bank, and they do have that privilege, by law. They are actually allowed to go through our bank accounts. So what you need to do in terms of, preparing for that lifestyle audit is if you, the first step would be ensure you declare all of your taxes. If you have other sources of income that are coming from the side, you declare all of those, so that when you are called eventually for the lifestyle audit, you really have nothing to worry about. All you're simply preparing is you're getting the receipts and proofs of payments against the contracts, and the way you then spend that money, and when it comes into your account. But in the event, some have not been declared, one would advise that you first go to your accountant so that you really just are able to reconcile all of your records, and then you are able to then go to the taxman and tell them that, no, this is the reason I'm going to pay this much. Where you get a tax advisor, a person who's well versed with the tax code, because at times you find that it's not that people are not declaring, but probably because the way they perceive the taxes to be happening is somewhat different. For example, if you, sell your house, you might seem like you have more money there, but ideally you just sold the house, and then before now there were no taxes, because there were no taxes on assets. So it's all those things. Just get your paperwork in order. And now we live in a beautiful age of technology. So usually everything is documented. It is just even if it needs to go 10 years back, you can simply call your bank and ask for all of those receipts, the income inbounds and outbound payments. And then also when you do your annual returns as a person, it's important that you always retain receipts, you always retain copies of your annual returns, because you may be called for a lifestyle aid audit maybe 5 years from now, and you may not even remember how you filed your tax returns. Even if your employer does that for you, you need to ask them for it so that you are able to reconcile and have those records yourself.
Yeah, Mr. Spear, I will assume that there are penalties that are incurred or interest, after evading paying taxes, hence the lifestyle audits. What happens after the investigations are through?
So if the authority does indeed find that you do have other sources of incomes, then you would be liable for all those taxes. Then the taxman would want to pay those taxes back, and they would want you to pay those taxes. And they could also impose an interest on those, because if it dates back, then that means there are interests that you've not paid on those. Just that when you're paying taxes, the interest on the taxes, it shouldn't be in duplicate, it shouldn't be twice what you probably evaded. And if there are those, tax evasion, it's clear that you're evading taxes and you are failing to actually even pay and make amends, I think there is actually a prison sentence that one could then be liable to.
Yeah, so there's no excuse, Mr. Sbia. Compliance is key. The IRS has campaigns, initiatives, and projects that encourage taxpayers to comply and pay their taxes. How important, how critical for the economy for taxpayers to comply?
Tax compliance is a very critical component, because that is where government gets the money to fund all of their activities. So for one, the lifestyle audits aside, prison payments, fines, and interest aside, compliance means you are just doing your part as a citizen, and as a good citizen, you should strive to pay all of your taxes and make sure that you do not owe anything to the government. And because that is what then helps us to develop as a country and drives growth for the country. It allows us to pay for the free primary education. It allows us to subsidize our health sector so heavily. That is why you can then go and just get treatment, for 10 Malang, and when ideally, if you have to pay market rates for that, a lot of people would not afford it. It allows us to build these very beautiful roads that we have. I think we rank amongst the top 5 in terms of good connectivity in Africa. It just allows government to do quite a lot. So as a good citizen, it's your duty to pay your taxes, and compliance is key and critical because it is where the money comes from to run government expenditures. And then also at the same time, the consequences become dire when you eventually get caught, in the sense that you're going to have to pay interest, you're going to have to backdate the taxes, which is money you might not even have. And we've had, situations where people came out to say they think that as the ERS or the Revenue Authority is out to get them, was out to kill businesses. But I do not think that would be an argument we're having if we were all compliant, because by the time you are caught for not being compliant, you find that the taxes are so cropped in Negam that you can't even afford them anymore. Most businesses will be forced out of business, or as an individual, you would find that you are now living in this perpetual debt cycle because you just didn't pay your taxes. So the costs when you eventually get caught become very dire. That is why we do encourage individuals to pay their taxes and ensure that they are in good standing, because it can be a very huge cost when you eventually get caught 10 years later and you're expected to pay taxes that you've been evading over a period of 10 years. That's money you might not even have. It might really turn your life around or in an instant, just like that.
All right, thanks so much, Mr. Sbia. That was quite insightful. That was Sanele Sbia, in-house economist, just having a discussion on the importance of ERS, Eswatini Revenue Service, conducting lifestyle audits. This year alone, 23 individuals are being investigated and they owe an amount equivalent to 47 million emalangeni. Let's go for an ad break. Nesbuya, we talk to Nolwazi Kumalo, Help Desk Officer at Nedbank.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
All right, so welcome back. You're still watching Netbank Business Watch. Today we're talking about the Netbank Money Africa app. It offers a wide range of features such as transacting money and downloading your monthly statements. But to tell us more about that, we're joined by Nolowazi Kumalo, who's the help desk officer at Netbank Eswatini. Good afternoon, Nolowazi. How are you this afternoon?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you?
I'm great. Quite excited for today's topic. Tell us more about the app. How easy is it downloading it? And do I need to be a client to have one?
Anyone can have the NetBank app. You can download it on your iPhone or Android, depending on what you have. If you have an Android, you can download it on your Play Store, and if you have an iPhone, you can download it on your iStore.
Yeah.
Once you download it, if you are not a client, NetBank client, you can just click on become a client, and a friendly agent calls you to say, do you want to be a client?
As easy as that.
As easy as that.
Okay.
And if you are interested in being a NetBank client, you are given all the steps to follow and all the required documents. If you have them, you can go to the branch and open an account, as easy as that.
Okay, so we are as people, we're particular about convenience, you know.
Yes.
So take us through the features that the app has.
So with the app, you are able to send money locally as well as to South Africa, and you can actually send money to anybody who has an active mobile number, Swaziland mobile number.
Okay, so I know that you're talking about one of the features, and I did mention in my intro that the app allows you to download monthly statements and also make transactions. Do I actually have a limit, you know, when sending money on the app, and how often can I receive my my statements rather?
You can. There's a feature on the app. The app is quite an interesting thing. So there's a feature on the app where you can set how often you want to receive your statements. If you want to receive it monthly, weekly, you can set that on the app.
Okay.
There's a feature for that, and there's also a feature that say you want a statement, just a 1 month statement. You can also do that on the app. There's a feature for that also, to say I want a monthly statement, so you can receive that as well.
All right, perfect. So can I make a stop order, because you know we try by all means to avoid the queues at the bank. What other features are there on the app? Can I make a stop order? Can I have access when I travel abroad? Excite me. What other features are there on the app?
With a stop order, you can do that on the app. The same way you do payments, there's a feature as well on the app where you say, do I want this payment to recur monthly or weekly, depending on how often you want the payment to recur.
Okay.
So there's a feature where you say, I want this payment to recur. So you set that, there's your stop order. And if you are traveling abroad, we also say at Netbank we protect our clients.
Yeah.
So if you are traveling abroad, we are able to open your card for use abroad. You are able to do that on your app. You just tell us, good, say, I am going abroad and I want my card to be open for these countries.
So how much time should I inform you before I travel?
You can do it a day before.
Okay.
Before you travel, so that we are able to call you and verify that you are really indeed traveling.
Yeah, one important question. I know that most applications normally want you to have internet, you know, on your phone or your laptop, whatever your gadgets you're using. Does this app, you know, require you to have internet on your phone when you want to use it?
I always say that the app is a gift to our clients. So you don't need data to transact or to be able to log in on the app. You don't need data. So if you want to transact on the app, you just log in. And the features as well, cell phone banking and money app, you don't need data.
There's no need. So,
Yes.
so that means I can send money to someone who doesn't have a bank account. Is that possible via the app?
You can do that if you send money.
As quick as that.
Once you log in, you are able to send money to any active number.
Okay, so what's the limit? The daily limit, monthly limit? Is there a limit?
For send money, you can send up to 15,000 on the app, and the person can be able to withdraw that money at any Nedbank ATM.
Okay, so what other services are provided by the app? For instance, I want to change my ATM password, ATM limit. Do I need to go to the bank, or I can just do that as easy by using the Nedbank app?
The app is banking made simple. So you are able to change your limits on the app. You just click on cards and you'll see all your cards, and you're able to change limits for your cards.
Okay, so then how do I send someone a pay me request? I saw, your website that one of the exciting features of the app is I can actually send someone a request to pay me back my money. How do I do that?
Everyone loves that feature. That feature is just a way of reminding a person who's owing you. Would say, you know what, you're owing me. So you just click on pay me request, and the person is able to see and to be reminded that they owe you, and they can be able to send the money in your account. Because that feature will send your banking details to the person, and they'll be able to send money into your account.
All right. So let's talk about accessibility to my loan accounts, my investment account. Can I inquire my balance or with the app? Can I access my loan accounts and investment accounts via the app?
You can do that via the app. The app shows you your loans, so you are able to keep tabs on your loans, and you are able to view your investments on your loan on the app. Sorry.
All right. Thanks so much, Nolwazi. If they want more information, where can they contact Nedbank Eswatini? Social platform, media platforms, your branches.
Nedbank is available at Nedbank Eswatini. That's on X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. They can always contact us as well. Help desk, 32781999.
All right, and I suppose you're interactive on the social media pages.
Yes.
Instant responses.
Yes, we do that.
All right, thanks so much. There you have it, the Nedbank Money Africa app. For more information, as she has just said, you can visit their social media pages or visit one of their branches. As Batlo Damagete will be right back. Welcome back. This is Nedbank Business Watch. We continue with the program. The Eswatini municipality plans to improve the handicrafts market in order to draw in more people. This has been shared by the Chief Executive Officer, Matogoza Shongwe, when detailing the different programs they have in place to support the growth of businesses at Eswatini, including small and medium enterprises.
Town is within communities. There are different communities around this area. How do these communities benefit from the development that is happening here?
There are quite a few infrastructure projects that have come up. Kune Water Reservoir, which is for Eswatini Water Services Corporation. There's Esicom, which is about at 95% completion. EPH, we already know, it is already up. Lubane savings, it's already up. Our expectation is that all of those development come with employment needs. So that's your primary area of intervention in terms of improvement on the economy. So you would expect that these will have a need of some resources that are locally based. Added on to that, they call also for a demand in terms of the development that needs to support, that is infrastructure development that needs to support. So from that aspect, there are companies which will benefit as they go about improving our infrastructure. Again, you expect that to improve in terms of employment and also in terms of giving back in terms of tax. And then you also have unique infrastructure developments such as the ICC and the 5-star hotel. We would be happy to see those completed. That opens a whole world of tourism. I hope you'd appreciate that Eswatini is a tourism hub of the nation. So once they start running, they will bring a new dynamic within the tourism space, including what is popularly known as business tourism. That would also have positive spin-offs to our local economic development, which will help people who provide cultural artifacts, mahiya, Gwembe, and all of that works within tourism artifacts. So there's definitely a good boost that will happen within our economic space.
This show is all about tracking the economic development of the country, and small and medium enterprises form part of that. What is it that you are doing to help small and medium enterprises?
The flea markets are actually run from the office. We make sure that there is space for those small vendors to be able to trade at particular times. This is a collaborative effort because they tell us the times when they believe that it would be useful for them to showcase their wares. So we then set our dates in line with that, and then we publicize that so that people can come in and support that industry. The other area which we also deal with, and we are working in collaboration with the Minister of Housing and Urban Development to look at how we improve our handicraft market, which is just below the ICC. And we are looking at how that facility can actually be improved structurally so that it can be able to draw in more people to come in and be able to purchase from the ladies and the gentlemen who work within that space, because that's a creative arts which they're bringing in. And then the other ones which we also have, we have particularly the farmers market, where also you have small traders bringing in their wares. It happens almost every month. That is run from Legends, but we also support that as a municipality and would encourage our residents and people from far and wide to come in and support the farmers market, because it is really an avenue where the small entrepreneur is able to sell and showcase what they have.
We know that different towns struggle with the payment of rates. How is the situation in this town?
Yeah, the issue of rates is a challenge, I think, in all municipalities worldwide. Rates are not an easy payment to make by people. Nonetheless, they do pay rates. They do pay their rates. Our singular biggest challenge as a municipality currently is the Royal Swazi Spa complex. Because as you'll appreciate, it's not operating, so they are not paying rates. The major part of our defaulters comes from that sector. Otherwise, commercial sector, residents, they do pay rates. It's unfortunate that for the first time this year, we may have to auction a couple of properties because people have been defaulting over time.
How long does it take before you auction an establishment or a residence?
If I reflect on the ones that we have, I think it's a 2-year period.
You are saying 2 years. Do I have to have been not paying anything for 2 years, or what happens if I pay for 2 months and I don't pay for 3 months? Do you auction, or are you open for us to negotiate and talk about it?
It's mainly without having put anything, because those who come in and put in, we are able to engage and get an understanding. What is it that will be affordable to you, and how can we do that? So those, you wouldn't find yourself having to auction that, because there is that interaction, and that is what we encourage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's only when we have completely failed to get any communication, completely failed to get any payments made, that it will end up at that point. It's the last resort. It's not something that we like to do. There's an arrangement that you can make with the municipality so that you are able to pay at more affordable terms to you as a ratepayer over a 12-month period. But this is open from at the beginning of a financial year, which is April, up to the end of the financial year, which is March. So there are those arrangements which people can come in to the office and make. It eases the burden, but it also ensures that you do pay rates, because it is from the rates that we are able to carry out our operations.
What are the steps that leads to an auction of a residence or an establishment?
Every new year, at the beginning of the new year, which is April, we send out statements to all ratepayers to say, this is what is due for that financial year. And then after that, then you receive invoices. Every month, then you'll receive an invoice to say, okay, this is how much you need to pay. We also publicize, put up notices to remind people to pay rates. And then where we realize that a person is defaulting, has not made an arrangement with the municipality, is not paying the rates, we then have direct communication with that person to say, look, your rates, we notice that your rates are outstanding. Please catch up on your debt. And then if there is no movement there, we then take it over to our lawyers, who will then communicate with you about paying. You can make an arrangement of paying your rates with the lawyers, and then they share that information to us, and then we are able to remit that against our rate statements. It is when you have failed in those two critical processes that we will then seek out a court order to say, please pay your rate. And if that defaults, it is only then that, again, we advertise the intention to auction your property before we then get a court order which says, now the auction is going to take place on such and such a date. So there's a long drawn-out process before we can even get to auctioning of properties.
The projects that you are talking about, CEO, are very huge, and they are contributing immensely to the country's economy. But I want to know, what disaster management plans do you have in place to ensure that these projects continue to benefit Eswatini and contribute to the country's economy?
We have a disaster risk reduction plan. You'll appreciate that recently we've had a number of felt fires. We must have a plan on how we mitigate. But it's not only that. If there are floods, how do we mitigate? What are the actions that are expected from us as a municipality, and how do we share that information, and how do we capacitate our residents when there is a particular disaster and that happens? In the long term, which we believe that IDP is going to talk to is really to improve the city as a green environment. That is critical, noting what I've just talked about in terms of disasters. Most of the disasters are coming out because of changes in climate. So we need to be able to have a good stranglehold on that.
You have mentioned what you are doing, CEO, to help the small and medium enterprises. You are also mentioning disaster management mechanisms. But what are the long-term goals for the council?
Yeah, we've got a couple of initiatives that we are working on, including the drafting of bylaws, which just basically help us to organize better and run the town efficiently. So they deal with various aspects, trading, accommodation establishments, and how we maintain the environment. Because, for example, we've got people who have vacant properties and they don't clean them up. So that the bylaws deal with that. Because there are certain things which become a nuisance to neighbors. Even noise becomes a nuisance to other people. So we need to manage that and ensure that the municipality is welcoming and peaceful. And then in terms of improving our services as a council, you remember councils are about service delivery. So we have ISO 9001 for 2015, which is basically set up to improve the way we do work, which talks to having due processes in everything that you do in the municipality. And being able also to audit that, to see to it that you are doing what you set out to do, because it's only when you do that that you are able to improve your efficiencies and to deliver your services correctly. We want to definitely improve our tourism offering. And the IDP is also going to talk about what are the things that we are looking at around that space.
It has been a pleasure, CEO. Thank you so much.
All right, that was business journalist Nelsiwe Ndlangamandla having a detailed interview with Municipal Council of Ezulwini CEO Matogoza Shong, who says 10 properties face auction at Ezulwini. You'll go for an ad break. When we return, we take a look at today's financial markets.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Welcome back. It's 12 minutes before 3 o'clock. You're still tuned into Nedbank Business Watch. We are now joined by Bongani Mabuza, who's the head of treasury at Nedbank Eswatini. I want to take a look at today's financial markets. A very good afternoon, Bongani. Welcome back. It's been quite a long time.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to you, Lulu, and good afternoon to your viewers. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. So how are the markets performing today? We saw at the beginning of the week, there were fears that there could be a recession in the U.S. and markets fell off. Has there been a turnaround since Monday?
Yeah, that's correct. I think that's exactly where we want to start. So there was a big correction on Monday in markets globally, and I want to just point out, first of all, the reasons for that and what has happened since. So there were a number of factors which contributed to this. First of all, we had a jobs report that came out in the U.S. on Friday, which showed that the U.S. economy added fewer jobs than the market had expected. So the market did not respond kindly to that. And then secondly, we had the Bank of Japan, which unexpectedly raised interest rates in Japan. So that caused a bit of weakness and fear. It caused the unwinding of what's been happening in markets, which is called the yen carry trade. And then thirdly, you had corporate earnings reporting in the US. You had the Magnificent Seven companies, which are the 7 largest tech companies in the US. They all reported numbers that are good, that are showing earnings growth. But what happened is that those equities were sort of priced to perfection, really. And even though they showed good growth, it was not growth as robust as markets expected. So there's a bit of a cool off because of that. And then the last thing that I want to talk about that happened is you had markets expecting a retaliation from Iran after Israel admitted to killing the leader of Hamas in Iran. So that caused a bit of noise, especially around commodities markets. So all of that was really sort of the perfect storm that caused a big sell-off in markets earlier on in the week. And then we started to see a recovery on Tuesday, what's been called turnaround Tuesday. We started to see a partial recovery, and that story sort of continues today, where we're seeing continued risk-on sentiment across equities, across FX, and across commodities.
Right. So speaking of commodities, we've been seeing gold prices and Brent crude oil being volatile throughout the week since Monday. What's the reaction today?
Yeah, that's correct. So in terms of commodities, we have gold currently at $2,397 per ounce. It's up just over 1/10%. And the story with gold is that it's steady today after a 4-day losing streak. As you've been saying, it's been quite volatile, and it's been one directional, and we're seeing some stability there today. From a crude perspective, crude is also steady, up about 1%, and markets it's steady there again. Markets have been are waiting to see if Iran is still going to retaliate against Israel, but for the time being, the prices are steady.
Okay, so when we look at the foreign exchange, particularly the lilangeni against the dollar, what's the reaction today? Because also it has been quite volatile now since Monday. What's the reaction today?
It has, and we need to at some point find a stronger word than volatile. So, for instance, the mighty lilangeni is at 18.3275 against the dollar today, at 20.022 against the euro, and at 23.31 against the pound. It's strong today, probably the strongest it's been this week. So, for instance, yesterday it went to levels as weak as 18.58. And on Monday, we saw it reaching levels of 18.68. So we have seen some recovery there as the trend of risk-on sentiment coming back into markets continuing, and the lilangeni being an emerging market currency, we are starting to see some flows coming our way.
Okay, so there were reports, I think it was yesterday or Monday, that the pound was declining against the dollar. How has there been a turnaround since yesterday?
No, that's correct. The pound has been declining against the dollar, and I think a lot of that has been, there's some economic factors, but some of it is also social factors because of the unrest that we're currently seeing in the UK, and I think markets are just waiting to see if efforts by government and other parties to contain those are going to succeed.
Okay, so lastly, let's take a look at the numbers on equities. What's happening there today?
No, thanks. So equities are up, with the S&P 500 being up about 1%, with the FTSE being up about 0.23%. The JSE All Share Index being relatively flat. So again, it's a story of a continued risk-on sentiment. We did see a significant sell-off on Monday, and a lot of volatility, as you rightfully said. We saw the VIX index, for instance, reach the highest levels of volatility in more than 30 years. So we saw a recovery on Tuesday, and we're continuing to see that to some extent today. But it's not a full recovery as yet. It's a partial recovery.
So can we see the recovery until Friday? So Nama, will be changes between today and Friday.
Yeah, I think it will depend on a number of factors. So, for instance, markets are pricing in a lot of things around the probability of a recession in the U.S. market, the probability of interest rate cuts, and when and how many interest rate cuts we're going to see, and all of that. In the short term, so much can happen. It's really hard to call, but it's important for any investors to stay close to the market and be well positioned to react.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bongani, for that analysis today for our financial markets. That was Bongani Mabuza, Head of Treasury at Nedbank Eswatini, giving us today's financial markets. It's 5 minutes before 3. Let's quickly go for an ad break. Sabi Akanamanja.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds, full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
All right, it's 2 minutes before 3 o'clock. We've come to the end of our program, Lomusha. If you've just joined us, worry not, you can still watch this episode of Nedbank Business Watch on our YouTube page, Eswatini TV. And also, just to encourage you to download the Money app Africa from Nedbank. You can contact their social media pages. They are interactive, and if you need more information, you can go visit their branches countrywide. So that's from my person, and thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow for Market View at exactly 2 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch was brought to you by Nedbank.
that's wide and fluffy lies a land completely puffy. Cushy, cushy, cushy. It's a squishy, squashy, cuddly, snuggly, bouncy place to stay. Cushy. Where we run and jump, tumble and bump in a cushiony kind of way. Cushion Kids.
Topsy-turvy day.